On Christmas Day 2003, while millions of people on Earth were celebrating, something extraordinary and almost completely forgotten happened millions of kilometers away. A small robotic explorer touched down on Mars carrying one of humanity's biggest questions. Are we alone in the universe? And then it vanished. No signal, no message, no confirmation, just silence. This is the story of Beagle 2, the silent thing we left on Mars, and the mystery that took 12 years to solve. What makes this story even stranger is that Beagle 2 wasn't some massive, complex rover like the ones you might imagine. It was tiny, about the size of a folded umbrella, yet incredibly ambitious. It was sent to Mars as part of the Mars Express mission by the European Space Agency, and its goal was simple but profound: search for signs of life, past or present. Inside this small machine were instruments designed to detect carbon, analyze soil, and uncover chemical clues that could change everything we know about life beyond Earth. It was even named after the ship that carried Charles Darwin, hinting at just how important scientists believed this mission could be. But here's where things start to feel almost unbelievable. After traveling millions of kilometers through space, Beagle 2 separated from its mothership and began its descent toward Mars completely alone. No real-time control, no second chances, just a perfectly timed sequence that had to go exactly right. Scientists sometimes call this phase the most dangerous part of any mission, and for good reason. In just a few minutes, the probe had to survive extreme heat, deploy a parachute, and land safely using airbags. If even one step failed, the mission was over. And then, right when everyone on Earth was waiting for that first signal, nothing came. Imagine watching years of work, millions of dollars, and one of humanity's biggest hopes disappear in complete silence. That's exactly what happened. Minutes passed, then hours, then days. Still nothing. Scientists began to assume the worst. Maybe it crashed into the surface, maybe its parachute failed, maybe it bounced into a crater where no one could ever find it. Over time, Beagle 2 became one of space exploration's most haunting mysteries, a mission that seemed to fail without leaving a single clue behind. But the real twist in this story didn't come days later, or even months later. It came 12 years later. In 2015, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, equipped with incredibly powerful cameras, captured detailed images of the Martian surface. And hidden in those images was something no one expected to see. Beagle 2, sitting right there on Mars, not destroyed, not lost forever, but intact. That's when scientists realized something shocking. The mission hadn't failed the way they thought it had. In fact, Beagle 2 had done the hardest part perfectly. It had landed successfully, but then came the smallest, most devastating failure imaginable. The lander was designed to open its solar panels like petals of a flower after landing. These panels would generate power and, more importantly, allow the antenna to send signals back to Earth. But the panels didn't fully open. Just one panel stuck in the wrong position was enough to block communication completely. So even if the probe was working, even if it was collecting data, it had no way to tell us anything. It wasn't dead. It was just silent. And that's what makes this story so powerful. Somewhere on Mars, there may have been a fully functional scientific lab ready to answer one of the biggest questions in human history, but unable to speak. It could have detected organic molecules. It could have analyzed Martian soil. It might have given us early evidence about whether life once existed on Mars. Instead, all of that knowledge remained locked inside a machine that could never send a single message home. What's even more fascinating is how close this mission came to success. It didn't crash, it didn't burn up, it didn't completely fail. It almost worked. And sometimes, almost is what makes a story unforgettable, because it reminds us how fragile space exploration really is. One tiny mechanical issue, one small misalignment, and an entire mission can be lost, not in destruction, but in silence. Today, Beagle 2 is still there, resting quietly on the Martian surface, exactly where it landed. It hasn't moved. It hasn't spoken. But its story continues to echo back to us on Earth. It represents ambition, curiosity, and the risks we take to explore the unknown. And maybe in a strange way, its silence says more than words ever could, because every mission, even the ones that don't go as planned, pushes us forward. Every failure teaches us something new, and every silent explorer brings us one step closer to finally answering that question we sent Beagle 2 to ask in the first place.